Oh, hi. I'm Angela, MCV's Development Director, and I'm here at the Scratch Gravel Hills in Helena. And I just want to welcome you all to our kickoff event for our Campfires for Conservation campaign. Imagine we are gathered around a campfire right now. And we're really excited to launch this campaign, and we really just want to thank you so much for being here, and thank you very much for your support. I want to take a moment before we get started and recognize our very generous sponsors who really have helped make this campaign possible. Together, these sponsors have pledged more than $20,000 to MCV, and they've challenged us to match that $20,000 with an additional $20,000 in membership donations by the end of October. So that's right. So by October 31st, we're aiming to raise $20,000 from membership donations. And that's where you come in. Now is the time to renew your membership with MCV, become a member, or make an additional donation to MCV, and all of it will help us reach our goal. And thank you so much for all of your support. We really appreciate it. And now I want to turn to recognize our generous sponsors. At the champion level, U.S. Senator Jon Tester, who you'll hear from later on in the event, the League of Conservation Voters. At the heroes level, C.B. Pearson, Hilltop Public Solutions, Archer Construction, Hurrah Balm, and the Candida Fund. At the leaders level, Jay Proops, the Laura Kahn Foundation, Laura Wood Peterson, the Honorable Juanita Vero and Matt Ranella, Montana Environmental Information Center, Lake Research Partners, and On-Site Energy. And at the Friends level, Jean Marie Souvenay, Chris Sager and Tyler Hope, Missoula Wine Merchants, and Gulch Distillers. You will also hear from Gulch a little later on in the event. And so just thank you again to all of those sponsors. Thank you all for your support. And now we're going to kick things off with some videos about campfires. One of the things that MCV staff can all agree on is that we love campfires, especially in the fall. And they're a moment to reflect and tell stories and gather safely with friends and family outdoors. And we thought it would be nice to share a few of our favorite campfire experiences and thoughts with all of you. Hopefully it'll inspire you to reflect on some of your favorite campfire experiences. So thank you again. Welcome to the kickoff event for Campfires for Conservation, and I hope you enjoy.
Hi, I'm Whitney Tawney, Executive Director for Montana Conservation Voters, and when I think about campfires, I think about hard work, family, and burned hot dogs. Because I grew up as a feral kid in Patty Canyon on 30 acres just outside of Missoula, and every year one of our chores was to gather up all the down logs, all the extra brush, all the things that we saw, and burn it. And we would do this to help protect us for any wildfires that might be coming the next year. And we did it also with our neighbors who happened to be our family members. And at the end of the hard work, we'd all sit around the circle as a campfire, tell stories, and have hot dogs, which hot dogs were such a big thing because we weren't allowed to have processed food growing up. And I just remember that as one of my favorite things. And of course, I love a burned campfire hot dog just as much as I love a burned s'more. So cheers to you, thanks for being here tonight, and we look forward to telling you more.
Hi everyone, my name is Matt Willey. I am the Field Director for Montana Conservation Voters. When I think about campfires, the first thing I think about is community. It's the very first thing that comes to mind. At the end of a long day or at the end of a long hike, it's the place where you come back to and people are able to get together and talk about all the things they shared that day. Or resolve some of the problems they may have had out on the trail or out on the water. Um, Campfires are where you build friendships. It's where you bring people together, and it's where you find out what people really care about. People get really honest about things. They share things maybe they shouldn't, and they share things that are deeply personal. So campfires hold a really deep and meaningful place in my heart. There's something I think about as the leaves start to change and the weather cools down, and it's a time-honored tradition that I just cannot get enough of, and it's something that I hope to have many more of this fall and the many falls to come. And we hope you join us as we kick off our campfires for conservation. Um, and I'm just happy to be along for the ride, and I hope to see you around a campfire soon. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Kristen Cordingley, Program Director for Montana Conservation Voters, and so happy to be here today talking about campfires for conservation. Growing up, we went camping a ton and, kind of was always the highlight of the summer. I remember one year my grandparents went with us, and my grandfather, who was usually pretty reserved and quiet, played kind of a storytelling game with my sister and me, and it was so much fun and just kind of really stood out as a wonderful time in my childhood. And then earlier this summer, we took my niece, who was about 4 months at the time, on her first camping trip, and she was delighted with the fire and so excited and just kind of made for a magical evening. I think campfires are that way. It brings together all sorts of people and families from big to small and old to young. So really, really excited to be here, and thanks so much.
Hey, my name is Jake Brown. I'm the political director at Montana Conservation Voters. My favorite campfire memory is probably having a fire along the South Fork of the Flathead River in the Bob Marshall. After spending a few days backpacking in and meeting a couple of packers who had our rafts, we spent about 4 days floating down the South Fork, catching a ton of fish, having good times, and sitting around campfires talking about why Montana is so special and great.
Hey everybody, Angela Swatek, MCV's Development Director, back here at the Scratch Gravel Hills in Helena. And my favorite campfire memory, one of my more recent campfire experiences is at my dad's lake cabin. Every Labor Day weekend, they go down to the beach. It's a big lake, and they build a gigantic campfire on the beach. We're talking like 10 feet tall, really sturdy pile of wood, and whoever lights it is like an honor, whoever lights it, and then for the rest of the night people just sit around it, eat and drink and hang out, and everybody around the whole lake on all the beaches build a campfire just like it. And if you look out, you can see all the fires around the lake, and they call it the Ring of Fire. One time I remember somebody playing the Johnny Cash song during the night. So it's a pretty special experience and definitely one of my favorite. Thanks.
And now we have a cocktail class with my good friend Stefan Razel, co-owner of Gulch Distillers. He put together an MCV whiskey flask cocktail. So let's enjoy.
Hello, my name is Stefan Razel. I am the co-owner of Gulch Distillers in Helena, Montana. And we here at Gulch Distillers really appreciate all the work that MCV does to champion conservation issues around the state. And whether you're a small business owner like us or just a Montanan who enjoys being outside, we can all agree that clean air and water is good for business and for Montana. And what better way to enjoy Montana than around a campfire with a nice flask of a delicious cocktail. And that's what we're going to do today, is show you how to make a old-fashioned with our Montana-made, Montana-grown, Montana-malted single malt whiskey called Flying Anvil. This is a delicious cocktail that we serve down in our tasting room. at 790 Front Street. If you're ever in Helena and looking for a great craft cocktail, you can join us down here. First, we're going to start off with a few pieces of math. We need to figure out how big our flask is so we know how much cocktail to put into it. I have here an 8-ounce flask, and I know that my drink, when I make it, is going to be about 3 ounces. So I'm going to go ahead and make 3 cocktails that I would drink at home to pour into my flask. That way, we'll fill up the flask. I'll be ready for the campfire, and then I also get to taste some at home. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is measure out all ingredients. I am going to use our single malt whiskey. I'm going to be using 6 ounces of this product. That's 2 ounces per drink. The next ingredient we're going to use is a honey syrup. This is a 2-to-1 honey syrup, 2 parts honey, 1 part water. That makes it a little easier to pour, as well as just a lot easier to keep in your refrigerator for future use. We are going to use 3/4 of an ounce. That's 1/4 of an ounce per cocktail we're making. If you like honey, you could go all the way up to an ounce. Next, we're going to use some Angostura bitters. These are the classic aromatic bitters that you find in grocery stores. They often have a very long label on them. We're going to use 2 dashes for every drink, so that's 6 dashes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Next thing we're going to do is add some ice to our mixing glass. And then we're going to stir it up. We're stirring this cocktail because all the ingredients are clear. None of them are juices. If we were making a cocktail that used juice, we would be shaking a drink. By stirring it, we are cooling the drink down. We're also diluting it. Part of this process is, again, bringing that dilution in, and that is going to add about 3/4 to an ounce of water per drink as we stir our cocktail. We're going to give this a nice long stir, get everything cooled down and diluted. All right, everything's been very easy now. We are going to go to what I think is the hardest part of this whole project, pouring the cocktail into our flask. Let's see how this goes. Nice, we got it filled right up to the top, and we still have some left over for us to try. So with our extra drink that didn't fit into our flask, we're just going to pour that over a nice couple of ice cubes, a little bit to enjoy while you wait to get around the campfire. So this is our Old Anvil Old Fashioned using Flying Anvil single malt whiskey made right here in Helena by Gulch Distillers. Thank you very much, and we really hope you support MCV so they can continue their work to protect all of Montana's outdoor space. Cheers.
Gulch Distillers. Gold in a glass.
Thanks so much, Gulch Distillers, from my backyard in Bozeman to your place in Helena. We could not do this work without supporters like you, so we really appreciate it. We also want to thank our sponsors for tonight. Again, we cannot do this work without you. And we also want to thank our board of directors who keep this organization strong. So thank you. This fall membership campaign is really reinforcing my beliefs that all good things happen around the campfire. Campfires are known for a place to cook food, even a burned hot dog, a place to have light and warmth, a beacon of hope, a place of safety, a place to gather, but all while creating community. So please take a moment to think about what campfires mean to you. Put on a sweater if you need it, and join us in talking about what has happened this last year and what's ahead. 2021 was a real whopper of a year. My goodness. Thankfully, we made it through the 67th session of the Montana legislature, even with a new governor, Greg Gianforte. He definitely put us on defense along with our champions and partners, but we managed to kill several bad policy proposals that would have really gone against the Montana way of life, including a bill that would have facilitated federal public land transfer, a bill that would have decimated in-state solar development, and a bill that would have put you and I and all Montanans on the hook for the aging power plant in Colstrip. But we also scored an immense victory in dedicating millions of new dollars to our public lands through marijuana revenue. We fought our hearts out for you, but we also have you to thank in this process, because without you and your support of I-190, the election beforehand, we would not have been in this place. And honestly, I-190 sends such a clear message that it was too much for our governor to ignore. So thank you. And also always remember, more people voted for public lands and weed than voted for Greg Gianforte. With the session over, I encourage everyone to check out our scorecard at mtvoters.org/scorecard. Stay committed. Hold your elected officials accountable. Remember, they work for all of us. So what's ahead for MCV? MCV is in the process of empowering, engaging, and educating all Montanans of all stripes. We're in deep on the congressional redistricting process to make sure that we have fair and competitive maps. We are in your local communities working to elect conservation champions so we have outdoor places for the next generation to enjoy. And we're keeping our eyes out on every single elected official to make sure that they're accountable to you as the voter. Whether that's through an op-ed that recently ran from our chair, Jack Cunningham, calling out Ryan Zinke for saying that he's a public lands champion when he's clearly not, or us calling out Senator Steve Daines when he was putting his partisan agenda before every Montanan by blocking the vote to confirm BLM director and Montanan Tracy Stone Manning. He's also put up a fight about the federal bipartisan infrastructure package that could mean a lot for us here in Montana for our bottom line, but also to address climate change. So this is the reason why our work is important, and I hope that you join us in celebrating the work that we do, but also putting in some more fuel to that fire, because we've got a long ways to go. So with that, I'd like to introduce our senior senator, Jon Tester, who is in DC right now hoping to secure major money for our aging infrastructure here in Montana and working on climate solutions so that we have places to enjoy now and for future generations. So with that, thank you so much and welcome, Jon Tester.
Here's the deal, folks. It's safe, it's effective, it's free. Go out and get that vaccine. It's really important.
Whoa, wrong group.
Well, what group is this?
Sir, this is Montana Conservation Voters.
Oh, okay. Well, so little different perspective here. Well, not really. I mean, this is about conservation. This is about moving our country forward in a way that keeps our public lands in public hands. It's really important. If you want elected officials at any level of government, local, state, county, federal, doesn't matter, Montana conservation voters are there. And they're to hold people like me accountable. Accountable for clean water and clean air and making sure that we're doing something about climate change that is destroying opportunities for our kids even as we speak. Conservation voters are there. And they're fighting for everybody in the state of Montana to make sure we got a place to go out and hike or fish or hunt or whatever it might be. And I want to say something else about Whitney Tawney. Whitney Tawney is the Gene Karpinski of Montana. Now, most of you guys probably don't know who Gene Karpinski is, and you're lucky for not knowing Gene Karpinski. But Whitney Tawney works hard. She makes sure that conservation voters are out there. She makes sure that they're effective. She makes sure that conservation voters are getting the job done. So here's the deal, folks. This kind of stuff doesn't happen because of my good looks. See that? That shit don't happen by accident, okay? It happens because you got money, you got resources. So everybody that's watching me, sitting by the campfire, drinking a little whiskey, smoking a cigar, pull out your wallet, pull out some C notes, and give some of that money to conservation voters, because I guarantee you it will be well spent, and they'll keep Montana the last best place. they'll keep Montana the greatest state and the greatest country on earth. And without them, that doesn't happen. So it's important that you step up the plate. And just to show you how committed I am to conservation voters, I am going to do something I very seldom do. I'm going to try to open a beer with a shitty bottle opener. And we're living the high life today, folks. We're living the high life. This beer's for MCV.
Hi everybody, Lucy the dog wants you to donate to MCV at mtvoters.org/donate. And she thanks you very much, right Lucy? Yes.